Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, PDAC 2025 here in Toronto, and it's the last day. It's the Wednesday, the fourth day of the PDAC, and last but not least, we have Farhad Abasov here, the CEO of Millennial Potash, and we want to talk about the potash market and, of course, about his fabulous company, and I'm a shareholder of. Good morning, Farhad.
Good morning, my friend. How are you, Jochen?
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Hope you're also fine. How was the PDAC for you?
Well, it's going very well, very well. So a lot of meetings. As you know, this is the third day, so we had a lot of presentations. We've been presenting to some sales desk of investment banks here in Toronto, as well as having some meetings with both investors and the retail investors and institutional investors, and there's quite a few large companies that are interested in the company as well. So it's been going very well. Thank you.
I love to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah, as a shareholder, I'm happy on that. I'm also happy with the share price.
Yeah,
it's performed
so
very
are we.
nicely. Yeah, Millennial Potash. You are in Gabon. You have a fantastic potash project. What's planned for 2025?
So it's going to be a very busy year, my friend. So we're going to have environmental baseline studies where we already started taking some environmental samples. I think we already announced that. And then after that, we're going to start drilling. So drill program is basically, this is the second stage of our drilling campaign. The first stage was done last year. We have come up with about 1.7 billion tons of indicated and inferred resource. So the plan is to sink 2 more holes, stepping out of those historical holes that we've extended and increase the size of the resource. So the idea is to potentially double it so that we'll have enough of measured and indicated category so that we can go straight into a bankable feasibility study.
And you can do that only with 2 holes?
Yes, we can, because we already have 3 holes, historical holes, plus we've drilled, of course. So we have the cores from the past historical the drill campaign from 2017, 2018, plus we drilled, of course, ourselves, and these 2 holes will add to it. So we'll have plenty of information. And of course, we have seismic data, we have other historical data from the south as well. So that will give us enough data to actually come up with a significant resource size.
Yeah, okay, super. And I think the state is also very supportive. I heard about a lot of infrastructure initiatives and stuff like that.
Yes.
And it looks to me like that, they want to have that project live, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Jochen. So there's a new government. So I met with the president, His Excellency, about a year ago. It was very supportive of the project. He visited the site about 4 or 5 months ago as well. Again, that was a very good visit. And we have very good relations with the Ministry of Mines, Ministry of Environment, with the Prime Minister's office. So the government is quite supportive. The communities are very supportive because this is in the south of Gabon, and we believe that this is going to be a major driver of economic growth in this part of the country. And in terms of infrastructure development, you're absolutely right. There's a port being constructed as we speak. So the first phase of that construction will be completed in about 2-3 months, and then the second phase will be done next year. So way ahead of our production start, so to speak. So we will have access to that port, which is critical, of course, because there are not too many large potash projects in the world that will have that capability where they have port only within 50 kilometers. So that's very important. And we will build our facilities, meaning our processing and storage facilities, right on the port site. And that, again, affords us huge advantages because we'll have access to all the infrastructure, meaning natural gas, electricity, and so forth.
Okay, super. Yeah. Did you see already interest from large players?
Yes, we are in discussions with some large, I would say, both producers and distributors of potash, and also organizations that basically they're fertilizer producers. They're not in potash, but they have shown interest in our project. I think the main reason for this interest, Johan, is that the project looks extremely strong from an economic perspective, meaning that it's very viable. You've seen the preliminary economic assessment numbers. MLP.V is at about $1 billion. IRR is very high, over 30%. But also what is important is that the cost structure of this project is very low. It's very competitive with the largest and lowest cost operators in the world. So I think that is key. And again, all these infrastructure elements and being on the coast of Gabon, meaning that we can actually take this product out quickly and access both the African market, Brazil, even the eastern seaboard of the United States. So those are the elements, I think, that bring interest to the project.
Okay, super. So that all sounds extremely positive. I mean, I know I'm a shareholder, but also it looks to me like that the potash market is now in a turn to the upside. It looks a bit.
Yeah, I mean, price-wise, for sure, Jochen. So what we see is that, you remember about a year ago, the potash price in Brazil, which is kind of our index price, so to speak, has fallen. So it went down to about, I think, $285, $290. It has come back up now in the last few months. So we're looking at about $322 per ton in Brazil. In Africa, the price is actually a little bit higher. It's probably closer to $400 per ton. And we think that, the dynamics actually are quite positive. Some of the players in Canada and Russia and Belarus, they've also curtailed their production. So the major industry players are being very disciplined. So I think that's one of the major reasons that the price has been quite stable or even rising a little bit. But also demand side is very robust, Jochen. So the demand has been growing over the last several decades in a very steady fashion. I would believe that it will continue. So between 2 and 4% demand growth every year. So currently we stand at about 70 to 75 million tons of potash a year. And if it continues growing, we think that whatever new potash supply comes online will be absorbed by this new demand as well.
Okay, super. Yeah. So that means you could produce potash in Africa for Africa.
That's exactly what we want to do, Jochen. Because think about this. Right? We have a continent, one of the largest agricultural breadbaskets in the world that imports about 1 to 2 million tons. All of it is imported, obviously. And the continent needs more potash and more affordable potash and best from its own source. So we want to become the first African potash producer and target primarily African farmers so that we can actually supply potash to African agriculture.
Fantastic. When do you think you could be in production? I know forward looking, but
yes.
Just to give us an idea, is it from here 5 years, 3 years, 7 years?
So, if everything goes to plan, we're expecting to finish bankable feasibility study. We started, obviously, this year, sometime in the second quarter of next year. So if that's done, hopefully we'll be able to apply for a mining permit and secure it, let's say, by the middle of 2026. And if we're successful in securing funding for construction, then we think realistically we can start construction by the end of 2026 or early 2027. So most likely by the end of 2027, early 2028, we can get to production because, again, this is, as you know, not a conventional mining method. We're going to use solution mining. So it's faster, it's obviously lower cost, but also has a minimal environmental impact. So that's one of the reasons that we always prefer solution mining.
Yeah, because in mining terms, that's super fast.
It is, yeah. And this is, of course, again, I'm being very optimistic here, so everything goes according to plan. As you know, there are always delays, primarily, not even technical delays, but usually, as you know, raising that much money is sometimes quite challenging. Now we're well funded to the drilling. We'll need to raise more capital later this year for bankable feasibility study, environmental baseline studies, etc. But for construction funding, obviously, we're looking down the road. Most likely by the middle of next year or late next year, we'll be able to secure funding for construction. And if that is done, that's probably the biggest hurdle of all. Then, of course, we can push forward with construction.
Fantastic. Sounds like a plan. Farhad, thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
stopping
Jochen.
by, and I would say just deliver and do it.
We shall. Thank you very much, Jochen. Thank you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was Farhad Abasov, the CEO of Millennial Potash. And you heard the potash market is in the rising mode, thank God. And this project is potash from Africa for Africa. That's exactly what Africa needs. And it's also about CO2, about ESG and environmental affairs. It is fantastic because you have no long ship routes, etc. You can do it just right from there. This is fantastic. And Farhad is the potash expert number one, I would say here. And he will deliver that because he did it in the past several times. So really check out that beautiful company. Thanks for watching us and bye-bye from PDAC 2025.